everybody had plans that we're going to have a kid, and the kid is going to be healthy and frum and give us nachas, and Hashem had other plans. So there is a grieving stage for every single person in this room when your child left the path that you wanted and left many times the path that anybody would want into drugs or cutting or suicidal behavior and just not being stable, not being functioning. So there's a lot of grieving to go on. But there's also a lot of chizuk, because we have a lot of success. And we have people in the room that they'll be talking about kids who everyone gave up on. There's a kid who the parents sent me a picture today. This kid, when they threw him out of home, the Rav that they were going to, the rabbi that they were going through, supposedly a very chashuv a guy, said, your son is not worth your time to say Tehillim for him. Don't waste your time davening, remember? Don't waste which is mind-boggling. And that kid now is brisker payas, and he's going to the mir. So when we talk about grieving, I don't like the word, because we only grieve something when it's, when they're gone. As long as a person is alive, kolzman shehaner doilek, as long as somebody is alive, then their potential is there. And many kids give parents tremendous nachas. Like I just told them, if you would see a picture of your son, when you came to me, you would see any of these pictures, it's a fantasy. You'll hear their story, but so many stories. Fantasy. And so, first of all, yes, there's a temporary grieving, just like Rahman al-Islan. Parents get a diagnosis of their child. The child has cancer, and they thought the kid is going to be going to high school, and now they don't know what's going to be. Okay, life is different right now. We're dealing with a chayla, but grieving, that means that why should you grieve if the doctor says, there's a 82% chance of success? Tracht gut wird sein gut. There's a 96%. What are we grieving for? Hang on. So yes, we have to grieve that right now, we have to grieve that we don't have the life that we planned for ourselves. And as you said, Hashem has a sense of humor. And Hashem, he has a mind of his own. He just does what he wants. And I wouldn't want any of you to be here. You're all wonderful people. You should be tonight cleaning for Pesach and doing all the wonderful things you would be doing. You'd be sitting and learning in Marbet Torah, and then what are you doing here? And we look around, we see thousands of families. We see the biggest tzaddikim, their children or grandchildren off the derech, and there's a lot of pain. But grieving is a word I don't think we should use, because as long as the child's alive, he can end up giving you more nachas than you ever dreamed. So we have to just temporarily get used to that things aren't what we thought that they would be when we signed up for this. When we got married under the chuppah, we didn't know when we said, we signed we didn't exactly know what's coming. And we have parents here who have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, and number 11 and 12, it's like, we did it already. It's processed. Our assembly line is working. Who needed this? And then we have some that's a ben yachid. It's even more painful. And then we have some and it's even more painful. And then we have some kids doing that. It's even more painful. This unlimited levels of it's even more painful. Just today I was on the phone with parents, and their daughter wants to marry a woman. And it's even more painful. Everything is just even more painful. It's even more. What's worse, a girl who wants to marry a woman, or a kid who's suicidal and wants to die? Everything's even more painful. And just having a child breaking Shabbos, even more painful. Having a child dysfunction, even more. But grieving, we're very successful, and God willing, we're going to be successful. And you're going to have your kid back, and they're going to give you lots and lots of nachas, and it's going to be Yiddish nachas, and they're going to build a bayis nema b'Yisrael. We're just going to, we have tracht git vet sein git, So I don't like grieving. I like dealing with a gzeira that God decreed, that I hate it, He didn't ask me. He decreed. And why you and not your neighbor, and what did you do wrong? You could be even better people and better Jews and better parents than the people next to you, and you got stuck with this with the kid who's trying to kill themselves, and you guys are the crazy families with the dogs because you're trying to save your kids' lives, and you are, Be'ezus Hashem, right? What did you do? So it's tzaddik v'rala. It's the old question all the way from the beginning. We wanted to bring you nachas. We wanted to have children, and we wanted them to be frum, and you messed everything up. You just destroyed our whole plan. We don't want this. And so, I don't like grieving because I think the word is accepting. We have to accept that God runs the show, and He wants this neshama to be given to these neshamas and to the siblings, and He wants something here. There's something very godly happening in our dar that never happened before, where parents are being tested to the max if they're going to accept their children or they're going to reject them. And all the shiurim that I gave today and yesterday, and Siv Shalom and Tzadikim, and what Hashem did for us in Mitzrayim, it's happening now. Hashem's like, oh, you like that story, right? Where I took you out from Egypt when you were on the Mem Teshari Tumah, right? Okay, let's see you do it. Be there for your kid when they're Mem Teshari Tumah of today, which is like, I think we're way past. I don't know how many Shari Tumah there are, but I don't know. Today what's going on, the confusion. So I think we have to accept that He's in charge and He wants something from us, and we're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing Ratzon Hashem. You're doing it. Let's talk about what not Ratzon Hashem. So much easier. It's very simple. A text or a phone call. Hi, listen, until you can behave like what we want you to behave like, you are no longer our child. Bye. Easy. You don't have to come to group. You don't have to read a 1,000-page manual. You don't have to have a TP app, and you don't have to work on yourselves and close your mouth like you did tzaddikim for a whole week. You didn't say anything because you didn't know what to do, and it worked out great, Baruch Hashem. You don't have to be here. Just delete, Control, Alt, delete. Bye-bye. We'll have 10 kids, and we'll get rid of 1 or 2 or 3. We'll end up with 7. Was ist schlecht? What's wrong? And the answer is that God said, you are my children, and I'm going to be with you. I'm going to dwell with you. I'm going to be with you in Galus. Zohar HaKadosh says, right? Even though we caused the Beis HaMikdash to be destroyed, and we're packing up, and we're going into Galus, and all of a sudden Hashem is coming with His wheelie, and we're saying, where are you going? What'd you do wrong? He said, I'm going with you. Can you imagine a kid who breaks the rule of the house? And I wouldn't give this advice because we have better advice, but the parents are advised by the therapist, you have to send your kid out. So the kid packs up some stuff and he goes outside, and he's about to slam the door behind him, and the father is right behind him also with the wheelie. And he says, what are you doing? He says, what do you mean? I'm going with you. What do you mean you're going with me? You threw me out of the house. Listen, you lost your right to be in the house. I can't sleep in my bed while you're outside in the cold. I'm going with you. It's what Hashem did. Now, we have no reason to do that, and whatever, I once parents told me that they were advised that, and they taka did that. They locked the door for the kid. And if you heard what the kid did, if you're not twisted, you would say there's no choice. But we've been able to fix those problems without doing that. But the therapist said, lock the door. So I said, fine, you lock the door. I'm just curious, where did you sleep? So they said, what do you mean, where did we sleep? I said, your kid is outside in the cold looking for a subway station to get some warmth, and you took a hot shower, and you went in bed, and your fluffy mattress, pad, and your 16 pillows, and your quilt, and you just, I'm sure you cried yourself to sleep, but you slept there? Really? And so you go outside, find the kid, and say, listen, I'm so sorry that you made this choice, but I'm with you. And that's what Hashem did. Kol makom shegoyla, shchina goyla imayim. Hashem wanted to be in the Beis HaMikdash. We messed up. We had to go into Galus, into this sick, dark, very twisted, disgusting, full of craziness world. And Shechina Goyla Imayim, Hashem packs up his bags and he says, listen, I'm really sorry you messed up, but I'm going with you. So this is what we're doing. And we're going to go down to the level and do what we need to do to connect. Nimitz Hashem, this is my plan. I hope Hashem agrees. We're going to daven hard. You're going to connect, and you're going to save her life, and she's going to be home, and she's going to get mature. And look at this kid. They're here a few years, but all of a sudden the awareness, epiphany. He wants to get help. He wants to be like you. You're his model. What about all the friends? Remember all those friends? We're not going to say what shades, and because we're not, racist, and it doesn't matter. But the different backgrounds, right? Not Jewish, different colors and stuff, and people you didn't know, and people who were, we had parents who had kids who had friends with guys that were in jail, and hey, how you doing? Right? He was in jail, right? Any color, that's bad, no matter what the color is if he's in jail, Oh, not in jail, I'm sorry. Wanted for the attempted murder of his father. That's the kind of guest you want to sleep with one eye open at night, Unbelievable. And now he's like, where are all these friends? Tati, mommy, family, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. It's like a nightmare. But if we survive, which God willing we did and we are, then her friends are going to disappear. And Pedro and Mikey and Jakey and all these guys are going to go bye-bye. Joey. And mommy and daddy. It's a process of rebuilding the Nefesh HaAdam. And I am in so much pain over you, and I, let's put it this way. I cannot feel the pain that you have. Let's say I feel 1/100th of it, right? But I am dealing with 100 parents at any given week, right? So that's a lot of pain. So I don't mean this to sound callous, but there's something so beautiful happening here. It's like unfortunately somebody comes into your computer lab and takes a sledgehammer and busts every computer, and now you have to find all the pieces and you have to put it together, and you're going to emerge with a supercomputer that's going to be stronger than ever. That's these kids. These kids are b'makom shebal tshuva oimid ein tzadik yochel lamed. Your son is a hero in Klal Yisrael. He's just a hero. I will never be the toes of your son. B'makom shebal tshuva oimid and tzadik, especially. That's a tzadik. What do I have to say? So can you imagine what's going on over here when these kids come back? And they did that with Mesiras Nefesh that you're doing. Mesiras Nefesh, you'll hear this story. I mean, just for the Mesiras Nefesh, you should get a miracle. And you're all doing Mesiras Nefesh, right? Mesiras Nefesh. This is so hard, so uncomfortable, what you guys gave up for this neshama. Unbelievable. It's not easy. People say, you just do nothing, right? You try doing nothing like what we do nothing. Busy 24/7. She's busy 24/7. She's running an army, right? A one-man army over here, doing nothing. Holding our tongue is called doing nothing. Not criticizing is called doing nothing. Being nice to people we don't want to be nice to is called doing nothing. Tolerating bad behavior is called doing nothing. You're doing God's work on this world. You are living the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim. You are living it. You are the Tomer Devarim, the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachamim, every minute of every day. Because if you drop living on that level, you lose your kid. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And you know what? We're never going to know as much as the previous generations. We're never going to daven like our previous generations. What carbon are we sacrificing? What are we giving God? What you parents are doing, since Adam Arishan, no parent has ever done. Nobody is doing what you guys are doing. No one ever had to, and no one did. The 24/7 focus of self-control, right? Do you know anybody that is doing what you have been doing? This is like so obvious. Hashem does this. It's like a video game. And you finish a phase, and there's like a new phase. Like anybody play Pac-Man? Miss Pac-Man? Pac-Man? No, not me either, no. Right? And what happens when you... Right? So what happens when you finish the board? There's a new board. Things are moving faster. Things are moving different. That's like what Hashem does. It's like we had the Spanish Inquisition. Anybody want to go back for that board? I don't think so. Right? I don't like fire. Torture is not my thing. Right? And so every dar, and our dar now, it's so clear that we have the strongest Klal Yisrael ever, right? We have the best tzitzis. Right? I'm saying nobody has tzitzis muhuder like we have. And matzahs, wow. I mean, matzahs, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Anybody have 82 different matzahs? We have thick, thin, burnt, it's unbelievable. We have muhuder everything. There's nothing that's not muhuder. Right? Esrog. Anybody have a regular kosher esrog? No way, that's for losers, for goyim. Kosher esrog, for goyim. We have esrog, off the charts muhuder, best esrog, straight from the Chazon Ish, in the Chazon Ish's backyard, that the Chazon Ish actually stood there and it went through every Talmud's hands, and it's like, this esrog is straight, has Wi-Fi. Everything we have is muhuder. We have the best Klal Yisrael. We have Torah unbelievable in every language, no matter what. We should have no problems. Al pi teva, our parents would never dream. Before the turn of the century, 1980, you would ask somebody, do you know what's coming? 1990, do you know what's coming? Jewish kids are going to do drugs. What? Jewish kids don't do drugs. That's for Goyim. Silly rabbit. Right? Drugs are for Goyim. Tricks are for kids and drugs are for Goyim. No, Chassidish and Litvish and Yeshiva, they're going to smoke on kids who grew up from are going to go off the derech. What are you talking about? It wasn't in the cards. Nobody saw it coming. In the 70s and the 80s, everybody got... The Ger Rebbe about 8-9 years ago, I told him what's going on over here, and he said, I don't know what changed. He said, Amul, once upon a time, everybody was just getting frummer and frummer. The 60s, we grew from the 60s, 70s, got rid of the TVs in the 80s, we got rid of the blue hats, Nebuch, and the gray hats. In the 90s, we grew. Everybody just got frummer and frummer. It was just unbelievable, revolution, just whoosh, right? Rabbi Aaron Cutler would be saying whoa, hey, I didn't see this coming. I didn't mean everyone. He was hoping for 30 when he opened up in Lakewood. 30, he was hoping, don't kill us, 1% would be fine. And now it's if you don't get married and learn for 5 years, you're stamagoy. Shagets. What? You're just going to get married and support your wife? That's for goyim, right? Now we all got whoa, kailulim. How many kailulim were there in 1970? How many kailulim were there before the war? How many kailulim light do we have now? Armies of chesed organizations. We got everything. And all of a sudden, nicest families, kids, not just that they're not, the best, kids smoking on Shabbos, eating treif, chametz on Pesach, rebellious, violent, anger, right? Is this possible? Would you ever have dreamed? So God is doing something here. And what you're doing is responding according to Torah. Pashit, Chazon Ish, Baal Shem Tov, every story that we have, every das Torah that we have, you're responding to it. So it's a Nisayon. But we don't have Nisayonis from 200 years ago. We have Nisayonis from today. And they said, Tzaddikim said, the Gullus is going to get more and more bitter. And I would have thought that the Holocaust was bad enough. We went what we went through. But we bounced back. I mean, who would have thought? 100 years, 80 years, 90 after a Holocaust to have this. Wow. And now we're going through this. Personal Holocausts in families with kids who have their own emotional Holocaust, tremendous pain. And you parents that are so brave and so strong to put your own pain aside and say, what do I need to do for you? What do I need to do for my kid? We have parents crying tears. I built a house of Kedusha. I don't want to put in a television in my house. We have parents who really care, and I don't want this sin in my house, but I'm going to do what I need to do to save my kids with your das Torah, of course. And you're doing it. So what you should do, humbly, I suggest, is you should be proud of yourself. Because we didn't know what Nisayonis we were going to have. Nobody's getting out of here with a free ride. We were going to have challenges. There's Nisayon Aisha, Nisayon Aini, This is a real tough Nisayon, but you should, look at you. You're not crumbling. You're smiling. You just smile. She's smiling. Okay? If you had to write down a letter to yourself at your chuppah of what you're going to be going through, you would have not gotten married. You would say, what was it, Chizkiah? Who was it? Chizkiah? Yeah. Not going to get married, right? They're heroes. They're heroes. Yes, you need your time to feel bad for the dream that you had that Hashem messed up. I understand. It's true. It's true. It's hard. It's really hard. I'm not saying it's not hard, but look how you're responding. You're heroes, heroic strength that you guys have. And you're actually smiling too much, so chill a little bit. Partying. We're having such a... you smile when you're tired. Okay, no problem. We'll get to you soon. Right? In this room, you can express yourselves, and you're in a room of tzaddikim. So the only thing you should do is look in the mirror and say, wow, I am amazing. I turned over my whole life for Hashem. I have this kid. She's doing everything that I don't want her to do, and I'm not losing her. And I'm just going to hug her and be there for her and do everything that's hard. And that's how you know it's Ratzon Hashem. Because everything that's hard is right. And everything that's easy is wrong. Everything. What's an exception? Everything. Not just with Yiddishkeit. Everything in life. You want to lose weight? It's hard. You want to get fat? Easy. Pick anything. Pick anything that you want to grow, do. Everything is hard. Anything that's why if you're not sure what to do, right? Think about what's easy. That's wrong. Everything you're doing is so right because it's so hard. And at the minimum, every time that you do the hard thing, you are makayim mitzvahs aseh in the Torah that says v'halachta b'drachav. The mitzvahs aseh, just like matzah. Remember, they asked the Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish said, it's a mitzvah, sorry, Satmar, close yours. That's okay. It's a mitzvah to vote in Eretz Yisrael. So they said, Rebbe, a mitzvah, you mean like matzah? He said, no, like maror. It's a bitter mitzvah, yeah? This is a mitzvah saseh in the Torah like matzah? No, like maror. But it's a mitzvah saseh, v'halachta b'drachav, mahu rachum, afata havei rachum. You went in and you saw something, your initial reaction was to go back to the room, open up that safe with your thumbprint, come out, guns blazing, and you controlled yourself. And you said, no, self-control. Mahurachum, chanut, erech apayim. It's a mitzvah saseh in the Torah. You have more mitzvah sasehs than as much matzah as I'm going to be able to eat. With the bris kashir. You guys get mitzvah sasehs all the time. I feel bad for you. I wouldn't want this. I feel terrible, but Hashem has spoken. And He's giving you the option. You could fight, hate, rechilos, lashon hara, sinah, your over lifnei iver, when you make people wear all of that, or the path of the Baal Shem Tov, of the Chazon Ish, of every gadol, every rebbe, no matter who it is. Peace, love, but it requires a lot of patience and tolerance, and you're becoming black belts up here of self-control. Not just in the halachas of don't turn a light on Shabbos. A guy once asked me, you never by accident turn on a light? They can't imagine it. But nobody works on their midos. Midos are for kids. Midos are not for adults. When kids act out, we say, that's not good midos, right? Listen to Uncle Moshe and Marvelous Midos Machine. Adults act out, we're always justified because it's always in the name of Hashem and Torah. You know, like anger, that's fine. Right? And all of a sudden, you're working on your midos. You're going to love yourself. In 5 years from now, and I'm saying this humbly, I'm jealous, but parents have told me over and over again. Just last night, I was on the phone with parents from Eretz Yisrael. Such a chush of a guy. He was involved. I don't want to give away his identity with too much. He was makar of a lot of kir v'chaykim. Fantastic person. Has many frum kids in Kail and the works, and wonderful Torah Gedula b'makam echad. Mamish, somebody that we would all stand up for, look up to, wonderful. And then all of a sudden, gets hit with this kid in pain. He told me last night, he said, I thank her. She made me change. He said, I would have gone the rest of my life, another 60 years. I can't say all the words that he used, but I would have been let's call it a jerk and judgmental, thinking I'm better than everybody, because she made me dig so deep in my kishkis of tolerance and patience, and I owe her so much. So this is like going to the gym. This is going through a program of self-growth. Somebody just said yesterday in group, said, this is not about our kids. See, this is about us. This changes everything. This changes our relationship with Hashem. This changes our emunah, our bitachon, our emunah in our children, that they are good, and even if they're doing bad, they're really good, and they're chelik kamimal. Our relationships, our davening is different, our tefillah is different. So we could either get run over by it, or we can stand up like every Nisayon. Avram Avinu was oimed ben Nisayon. That means that he withstood, but he stood on top of it. He was taller. It's like a guy goes into the ring, right, with an opponent, and he's fighting him, and he knocks him out, and then he stands on top. That's the ultimate victory, where he could stand on top of the guy, and the guy can't move. When you're oimed ben Nisayon, you're taller, you're bigger. That's why it's Nisayon. Anyway, is a flag that makes you bigger. Buy GPS, please. And there's a whole thing. The third chapter of GPS, which is written for teenagers, is all Nasiv Shalom. The third section is about dealing with life's challenges. There was a man who was about 65-ish who was unfortunately diagnosed with Yana Machla, and he was in the hospital for several months. And he wrote me an email afterwards. He said that section of GPS written for teens with all the pictures is what kept him going. It's all about dealing with challenges. So no, we're not grieving. You only grieve something that's gone. Im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yamini, says in the Nasiv Shalom. What's so bad? What's so bad? He says, because if you're forgetting Yerushalayim, it means that you think it's dead. Yerushalayim is alive. Our hope is alive. Our children are alive. And our dreams are alive. And she will come back, and you will grow, and you will have, Be'ezus Hashem, the most amazing family, because it didn't happen automatically. You're doing it, you're building it, you're rebuilding the motherboard.